evening. And I will ask Reverend Terry Heck to join us at the front and lead us in the invocation. And if all of you will stand and join us. Terry Heck. Dr. Allen, will you lead us in the invocation?
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Father, we are so thankful that we have all these bodies in this room, and it's humbling, an opportunity to serve our community, but really focus on our students and the good work that's being done in our classrooms all around this great county, and the opportunity to serve. So may we be wise in our words and thoughts tonight. In your Son's name, amen.
Amen. And I will now ask Max Hall to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Hi, Max.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Thank you for coming to our board meeting tonight and leading us in the pledge. I hear that you did not know you would be leading us in the pledge before you got here. Is that
Yes,
true?
It is true.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to improv with us and go with the flow. You did a great job. So you are 13 years old.
Yes.
And what school do you go to?
Lakeland Highland Middle School.
Very nice. And you're in 8th grade?
Correct.
And what is your favorite subject in school?
Agriculture and aerospace, as well as world history.
Very nice. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
Something with technology.
All right. I think we have some open IT departments. So, and I see our director cheering a little bit up here. So be sure to talk to her before you leave. So what do you like to do in your free time?
I like to do video games.
Very nice. I like it. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. Do you have people with you here today?
Yes, I do. I have my mother, stepfather, and sister.
Very nice. Can you guys stand up for us? Thank you so much for bringing Max. Well, thank you again, Max, and you may have a seat.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you very much. All right. And our first order of business is to accept the August 16th, 2022 school board agenda. Superintendent Hyde, are there any revisions?
Madam Chair, members of the board, members of community staff, there are 2 changes. Item B2, B as in boy, kids tag art check presentation. We're removing that item. It unfortunately was scheduled for the wrong evening. And item L4, annual equity report, there are updated attachments. And just to go ahead and address the issue at this point, Dr. Allen, as you know, during the workshop had asked a question specific to that item as it related to the data being reported. As Mr. Warren was able to clarify, there is a specific time period in which the department asks us to pull that data set, and that's why that number is different than the total number of actual administrators that we have. So that addresses the disparity between the 2 data sets. Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes any changes.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And I'll seek a motion to accept the school board agenda as revised.
So moved.
Ms. Fortney and Ms. Fields, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. And I will now hand it over to Superintendent Hyde for special recognitions.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the board. First, I'd like to ask school board member Ms. Lisa Miller to step down for special recognitions. At this time, I'd like to ask Angela Usher, Assistant Superintendent for Facilities and Operations, to please come forward for special recognition.
Good evening. I'm so pleased this evening to introduce to you our maintenance department management staff. These are the people that do the daily maintenance infrastructure repair, minor construction, and all district-owned facilities, which total over 17 million square feet and about 1,600 or more buildings. And they accomplished this with a staff of only 174. Last year, we completed almost 50,000 work orders. I want to thank them personally. I really appreciate them very much. I want to thank them and their spouses and their family. So you guys stand up and come up, because I really, really want to recognize them for the good job that they do. Mr. Dwight Marsh, who is the Director of Maintenance Services, he will introduce the various service managers and talk about a little bit more about our responsibilities in that department. Thank you.
How we doing? Thank you, Mr. Hyde, letting us be here, and the board appreciate y'all for recognizing us. Thank you. But anyway, I'd like to just tell you which the gentlemen's how long they've been with the system right quick, and then we'll go over what they do. And I got we got portable and fencing, and Rachel and Richard takes care of the portables and all the fence that we do. We'll go over the port. We moved already this year. We moved 65 portables right now. We got 28 more coming that we're leasing, and the growth keeps growing, and we keep putting portables in. So, and I just want to appreciate them too for working hard as they're doing, and all the managers take care of putting the portables on the actual land. So we'll catch that as we're going. But we got Winter Haven Shop, Tim Smith. He's been with the system 27 years, and he's been a service manager for 16. Tim takes care of the Winter Haven area. The Winter Haven area goes all the way from Record Highway. He takes care all the way to Ridge Career Center. Well, they're at the K8 up on the other side of I-4. And he has about 27 men. Most average shop takes around 26 to 28 people. So they all take care of, we take care of about 140 or 50 schools, and then we have about 12, 15 facilities that we take care of. Next gentleman will be Dennis Bolton. He's our youngest, just started on. And he takes care of, he's been with the system 16 years, but he's been a manager just about a year. He's not finished yet. So he's doing a great job, and he takes care of the Bartow area. He goes all the way from Alturas and Garden Grove all the way to Fort Meade. So he takes care of the south area. And the next gentleman would be Lake Wells, be Scott Hancock. He's on the, he's another newer service manager. He's 2 years into it. He's been with the system 13, but he's doing a great job. He takes care of the ridge all the way from Frostproof all the way to I-4. And that's a long way to be a part. He's got a lot of travel time for his men, but he's doing a great job. L6 is the next one. It's at the southern end of Lakeland and Mulberry, Sonny Boyette. He's been a manager for 21 years, and he's been here 31 years, and he says he's got one more to go. Yeah. Then the north, Carrie here? We have one that didn't show up at L4 shop. That's the north area up there. He goes all the way to Lake Gibson, all the way down to Paget, and he's been with us. He's a newer shop manager also. He's been here 24 years as a tech, and he's been a 1 year manager. Next one is James Cobb. He's been with the system 28 years. He's 19 as a manager, but James Cobb's take care of the 17 million square feet. He's from Bartow to all the way to the ridge. I mean, I think he had 28 guys, missing 8.
Well, the last few days, 11.
When
So
you're cold, this is Cunningham, you need to talk to him. This guy.
So he's doing a great job. I mean, that's a big deal right now in August. And he's a pretty busy man, but he's not popular.
Tell everybody have 13,001 wives.
That's right. And then
Get hot, I find out who they are.
especially mine. Anyway, but the next shop we have is Keith. I don't think Keith showed up today. His wife's actually under the weather a little bit, and he takes care of all the heavy equipment operation. He's the whole county also. He takes care. He has the the dump trucks and the loaders, and he takes care of all the retention ponds that we take care of. Every retention pond, we mow them, and he does a good job there. He's been a manager 13 years, and he's been working here 42 years. So he does a great job. But we just want to show or just say a few things that these gentlemen take care of. Oh, yes, they are. They do some work, don't they? Harold Hamby he's the maintenance planner. He's in the office with me. Ryan's my secretary, and Dawn and Tracy there. Don't throw nothing at them. They're doing as much work as they're the dispatch girls, the one that y'all talk to. And then we have Chris Hanna. He's a planner in the office also. Then we have an energy department. These two guys, there's three of them, and they go out every night just about, and they try to go to every problem. They look for lights on, left on, and they turn them off. They look for monitor. We have a cooler freezer in every school, and they look at them on a computer and by watching them. And we save a lot of money by them being out. And they go out and they go out on the holidays, and they go out on the weekends. And these gentlemen also, these 5 or 7 gentlemen, they take a call on vacation. They take a call on holidays. They take a call on hurricanes. They work 24/7 really, and they do a great job, and they will. And we have 174 men that make these men look good, and women. And if it wasn't for them guys out there and women working so well, we wouldn't look like we do. And we're doing a good job as a whole, I believe. But these also, they take care of plumbing, electrical, carpentry, minor construction, pond maintenance, AC maintenance, repair, portables, safety and security. And we also work with the safe schools hand in hand, keeping a one-way in and keeping them out, keep the people out, and they work real well with that. And we have locksmiths, and we monitor all the ACs, and that's back going with the energy guys. They take care of make sure the electric usage, monitoring temperatures in the building. We monitor a lot of things. It's a modern thing, but it's coming good. And we also take care of all the stadiums. We have 69 ball fields, and we take care of every one of them. Lights on the poles, and so it's a big deal. And then we take care of they got concession stands, and so we do have a lot of things we take care of. With 174 people, it is a lot of work in place. But I'd like to say thank you to all these guys here that work hard, and their guys working hard. I hope you tell them in the morning that we appreciate them. And I believe that's it.
Anybody wants to say something?
Yeah, y'all
Any
wanna
one of the
talk?
managers?
Ryan, you want to talk?
No? No? But I really, the spouses are here too.
Yeah.
Ladies, can you stand up? And I want to thank them so much because like these guys come out, I would call 2 a.m. in the morning and they'll answer and they'll respond and take care of the problem. I really appreciate them being recognized this evening. I really am honored to be working with them, and I thank them personally.
So a couple last things. Board members, I'll share a quick story. So the first day of school, or leading up to the first day of school, I think it's important that we do acknowledge all of our employees. And this department really shows their level of commitment. So we had a high school. I was visiting their campus. They had recently mulched their campus, and it looked really good. But the principal pointed out that he had not been mowed yet. And when he notified these gentlemen and their shops the fact that they hadn't been mowed, managers left their offices, got the mowers, showed up to schools, and started cutting the grass. That is the level of commitment and the culture we need to continue to sustain and create here, because they did not think of themselves first. They put our schools and our community first, and they should be commended. So that was Doug Dodson and his
Johnny Baxter and one
Johnny
more.
Baxter. So they deserve a lot of credit. But I will tell you that's only one story. The level of commitment all of these individuals show, and I'm pleased that, and just to let the board know, not only are they being recognized here tonight, but each one of our shops was given an allocation this year from some of our donated funds that I receive so that they can actually host some luncheons for their staff to say thank you. They deserve that. They work extra hours. They're everywhere. If I'm visiting schools, if I stop at a racetrack, I see one of our trucks somewhere, and it's a cheap thing to buy somebody a hot dog, a slice of pizza, or a soda, but we can't thank you enough. And again, we continue to grow. Your departments have not. We're looking to address that, as you know, but you have done an amazing job.
We hope.
And if you want to see just how hard they work, And their input is absolutely crucial, and they're trying, and we've committed to having them at the table before we build, because their insight and their input is invaluable. For example, we've built schools, and we've not put the right boiler in, and some of the boilers we've put in now are incredibly difficult to find parts for, if not impossible. So these individuals provide us that input so we can establish commonality, so that they're in the best possible position to support our schools. But from everything from supporting in ensuring our infrastructure is there, to installing overhangs and lighting, all the things that make the magic happen every day. So thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Angela. Thank you to everybody else. I'm so happy you're here tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all.
Appreciate you.
Good try.
That's a picture there. Now I'd like to ask Dr. Deborah Wright, principal at McLaughlin 612, to please come forward. She will recognize and provide recognition for the Lincoln CDC donation.
Right now. Hi, my name is Alyssa Esposito, and I'm a 9th grader at McLaughlin. Yes, a 9th grader at McLaughlin. I am here today to thank one of our community donors. Lincoln CDC has created opportunities for our students to learn and grow in ways that go beyond the classroom. Their donation afforded our school the opportunity to purchase an embroidery machine for our campus. This machine will allow students to work with businesses in the community to create business plans, logos, shirts, and embroidery projects. It creates a cohort among digital art classes, our ESC program, and the surrounding community of Lake Wells. One day, it may even help students have more affordable options, as uniforms and school merch can now be made in-house. Our school prides itself on creating many opportunities for students to grow and explore their interests, and I am proud to be a student at McLaughlin. This donation helps the school help me become a more whole and complete member of society. Thank you again to our lovely Lincoln CDC donors. The school and myself greatly appreciate your donation and support. As a token of our appreciation, we have a small thank you gift for the organization. As we work together as a school and community, students like me can rise higher and reach our fullest potential and catch the phoenix. After all, as we are ignited by fire, we rise higher.
Go, Alyssa!
I was told I had to be the one to speak. I just wanted to thank Dr. Hudson and the students and staff at McLaughlin Middle School, McLaughlin Middle High School now. I'm so excited to hear that. Our organization was organized for the purpose of helping to redevelop some of our communities in Lake Wales. We're so proud to invest in Polk County schools and to our students in Lake Wales and McLaughlin Middle School. And so we didn't expect to be recognized tonight, but we're so happy that our students are going to be able to invest in themselves and have an opportunity at a trade beyond high school. So thank you.
Thank you. Board members, I believe I've shared some of this information with you, but again, I started off the school year visiting schools. I had the pleasure of visiting with Dr. Deborah Wright, Hudson, and one of the things that I need to share with you is that initially we had projected that they would likely retain 60 to 70% of their current 8th grade enrollment, and they had approximately 135 students at that time in 8th grade. Dr. Deborah Wright Hudson has informed me that they have over 100 9th graders attending their campus right now. and more registering each day. So they have done a great job building that culture and retaining those students, and that's outstanding for all of us, because you know the growth potential that's in that community. And that's one of the reasons we needed to have this option, was to prevent overcrowding at Winter Haven and other areas. And kudos to her and her team for doing an amazing job. So, finally, I'd like to bring Cheryl Joe, Senior Director for Professional Development, forward to recognize our USF Masters cohort.
Mr. High, Board Chair, Ms. Wyatt, it is more than an honor and a pleasure that I introduce some dynamic young women and young men who are going to be the future of Polk County schools. And I am so proud of the partnership that we've had with the University of South Florida. When Mr. High said, let's continue this movement and grow our own, he didn't have to say it but once. I got on the phone and talked to USF, and I talked to all of the folks to get them here. And then we decided, let's bring them in first and then bring them in when they graduate. So as the literacy group comes up, these young men and young women will be getting their master's degree fully paid for with the investment of the superintendent and the school board and the district. And all books and supplies will be covered for this group. The first, and they're going to come up, and when they come up, they'll come in a semicircle. We have Anna Ardita from Horizons. Okay. We have Mary Basin from Mulberry Senior High. We have Jason Bowen from Rochelle School of the Arts. We have Alexis Claybo from Eastside Elementary. We have DeJuan Davis from Real Academy. We have Danielle Dole from Sand Hill Elementary. Lake Region, I'm sorry. She doesn't want elementary. Lake Region High. Jennifer Glasgow from Sand Hill Elementary. Emily Gully from Kathleen Senior Aerospace Academy. Rebecca Halleck from Cumbie Academy of Design and Engineering. We have Jessica Mellon from Winston Academy of Engineering. We have Cinnamon Paso from Watson Elementary. We have Emily Stevens from Cleveland Court Elementary. We have Christina Thorwegan from Lake Alfred Polytech. And we have Sarah Tic-Tac from Mulberry Senior High. As you can see, they span every school board district. And there were over 200 applications for these masters. You're looking at the best of the best. And they are doing our Literacy Masters of Reading. And they're going to give back to the future of our boys and girls here in Polk County schools. Thank you. And we'll... I would like to call up Dr. Jennifer Snyder, and she's going to introduce her staff who will be leading this cohort.
I can't say enough about, is this on? I can't say enough about Miss Joe and what she's done and the partnerships she's created between USF and Polk County. It's really amazing. I've been at USF for 26 years, and I haven't seen anything like it. So we're thrilled to be working with you and can't wait to get this new group of teachers. We love the last group. And so my colleagues here are Jim King, Anne-Marie Gunn, and Lindsay Person, who's one of your own. And I have other colleagues, they're not all here tonight, but we are thrilled to be working with your teachers and look forward to our future together. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, that concludes special recognition this evening. Oh, sorry.
We have the Ed Leadership.
I did
Group.
not, I forgot you had two groups. I apologize.
Not that we say the best for last, but since I am an Ed Leadership person.
So Ms. Cheryl Joe is correct. While they make their transition up here, I will commend her. I did make mention to her that I wanted to see us continue the legacy that my predecessor established by creating this pipeline opportunity. Ms. Cheryl Joe is absolutely correct. She took it and ran with it. In fact, she had to chase me for 3 months to get a final commitment because I had to identify funding and everything else to go with it. But absolutely thrilled that we're continuing to invest in our own and creating pipelines to support our students. So, Ms. Cheryl Joe, I apologize, but I wanted to make sure I added that.
Thank you. I also want to thank Andrew Baldwin. Andrew worked with us, and I called him all the time, and he never said no. And we worked together for getting this funding, and the whole staff at the federal grants has assisted in making this possible. So I want to give a shout out to Andy. At this time, I want to introduce, we have a couple of them that are not here. We have some dynamic young men and women who will be leading our schools in the next few years. And I can't say how proud I was to, we had 200 applications. We interviewed 50 in each cohort to narrow it down. We only had 15 slots. So you're looking at the future board. You're looking, and Ms. Fields, they are going to be at Kathleen once a month. They are going to be working Wednesday nights online, and Kathleen face-to-face on Saturdays. And they start this Saturday. So I'd like to introduce Larry Atchison from Caldwell Elementary, Tanya Bowen from Eagle Lake Elementary, Kylie Childress from Bartow Middle, Patricia Edgecombe from Polk Virtual School. We have Precious Ferguson from Lake Alfred Polytech, and I know your principal came to support you. Elvin Hannah Jr. from Fort Meade Middle Senior High.
All right.
He's going to be the superintendent one day, so just get ready. Jeremy Henry Dixon from Davenport High. He's out sick today. Jordan Jones had was that the one whose daughter got in a car, got hit? She's okay, but coming from school, but she is fine. And Jordan is at Lakeland Senior High School, a dynamic young man. Larry Kinsler from Boone Middle. Aaron Lavelle from Lawton Childs Middle. Kristen Looper from Willow Oak. Lillian Nat Muniz from Stanbaugh Middle. Melissa Rivera from Palmetto Elementary. Amy Rivera Cintron from Lakeland Highlands Middle. And Kimberly Sampson from Bartow Senior High. These are our Ed Leadership Masters, and I am so proud. And I would like to introduce Dr. Reck. She is the Dean for USF's Ed Leadership Department. Okay. We'll tell the president.
If you'll tell the other deans.
Okay.
That would be great. I'm actually Dr. Breon Reck. I am the coordinator of our Masters in Educational Leadership program, and I had the honor of interviewing these folks and reviewing that as well as the other folks. This is an extraordinary group of educators. Their commitment, their intelligence is going to serve this district well, and we're very excited about the partnership that we're continuing with Polk County. It's a very special thing for us, and we're looking forward to helping support their growth and seeing what they were able to do for your students as we move forward. We do have several other folks. Dr. Von Zalagosto is our department chair for our Educational Leadership and Policy Studies program, and Dr. Jennifer Neal, who's one of our other faculty members. So they are here today to welcome these folks, and they will begin their classes on Saturday. So they're getting ready to get started. So thank you again for the partnership, and we look forward to working with these young folks.
Congratulations, everyone. Thanks, Cheryl Joe. Madam Chair, that truly concludes special recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And if you could hear them in the hallway, they are a good time too. So they were having a party. So we will now move on to public comments. So before we begin, I would like to welcome the public and go over our public comment process and the opportunities for this evening. We will have 3 opportunities for public comment this evening. The first will be for items on this evening's agenda to be voted upon. The second will be during the public hearing for public hearing topics. And at the end of the meeting, we will have an additional opportunity for public comment on items that are not on this evening's agenda. To register to speak, community members must fill out a speaker card in the lobby prior to the meeting. All speakers will be given 3 minutes. The clock will give you a warning sound when you have 1 minute left and when you have 30 seconds left. Please give your name for the record. All comments should be directed to myself as the board chair. As a reminder, public comments are an opportunity for us to hear your thoughts and comments. This is not a question and answer session. However, if you are seeking additional information, we encourage you to contact any of us or the superintendent's office outside of board meetings, and we would be happy to have deeper conversation. Before we begin, Deputy Vaughn offered to be my guinea pig tonight for our on deck box. So I will call your name when you are on deck and next in line, and you will come and stand in this lovely red box that they've taped out for us. So thank you, Deputy Vaughn. You are a great model. All right, so we have 1 speaker for agenda items, and that is Andy Crossfield.
Hello, my name is Andy Crossfield. I live in Lakeland, Florida, and I hope I haven't misinterpreted the agenda item. Madam Chair, first of all, I wanted to point out that most of the public wants to have every classroom with a competent teacher. And after seeing all the people that you are already planning on in the future, I'm much more comforted by that, because it looks like you're planning for the future with all these people who are going to be filling the slots for the educators. And I also know that this is an election year and you guys didn't sign on for all the furor that you're having to live through with the campaigns, but we support you. You do a wonderful job. You have the best interest of the kids at heart. And so I'd like to join with everyone else in the audience who's still here that supports the school board and thanks you for the job that you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda will be approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. The first will be for the July 26, 2022 school board meeting, and I will seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fortney and Dr. Allen, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Our next set of minutes will be for the July 26th, 2022 work session. I'll seek a motion.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Miller and Ms. Fortney. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next on our agenda will be the consent agenda. And I will seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Ms. Fortney and Ms. Fields, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Superintendent Hyde, would you like to introduce our new administrators?
I would. We have several new administrators that hopefully are here present with us this evening with their family members or spouses or loved ones or just support from their newest school assignment. And if they are here, please come forward. We'd love to be able to recognize you individually and also give you an opportunity to say a few words to the board. We're going to begin with Melissa Browning, Assistant Principal, Fort Meade Middle Senior, has been promoted to Principal at Spook Hill Elementary School.
Opportunity to serve the students and staff and community of Spook Hill. In Lake Wells, it is like a homecoming. I actually was at Spook Hill 6 years ago, so enjoying it very much and loving getting reacquainted with my staff and my students and my parents, and looking forward to a productive year. So thank you.
So she shared with me, I visited her school on the first day, or at least the second day. And one of the things she shared with me that she did not get a standing ovation when she was introduced to her staff, but the new dean of discipline was. Did.
Yes.
So clearly, we made the right appointments there. But again, we commend you. I was thrilled to make the recommendation for the appointment. I think you've demonstrated your capacity there in the past. We expect you to help us rise and elevate that school yet again. And we're here to support you. So thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job thus far.
Thank you. I hope to not disappoint. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to bring up Mr. Kenneth Hinkle, Assistant Principal 2 at Citrus Ridge, is being promoted to Assistant Principal at Laurel Elementary.
I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve Polk County School District. Thank you.
Do you have any family here with you this evening?
Not this evening.
Oh, okay. We want to make sure they stand and be recognized as well. So thank you very much, sir. We're excited for you. They're going to take a quick picture of you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Robert Holby, Assistant Principal at Winter Haven, is being promoted to Assistant Principal at let me rephrase that. He is a Level 2 Assistant Principal at Winter Haven, is being promoted to Assistant Principal at Winter Haven High School. It's Dr. Holby, though, right? And I believe it's Dr. Holby. My notes don't have that, but it is Dr.
And it was
Holby.
USF, so I
You
appreciate
deserve that
we're doing
recognition,
that.
so
Thank
good for you.
Ms. Horton. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve. I'm looking forward to having a great year at Winter Haven this year. I think we've got everything set up to run well. It's personal to my heart. My son was just graduated there, so pray for me. He's at UCF this year, but we're going to have a great time out there.
You and I spoke after the graduation last year. I asked how you held it together because my son graduates in a few years, and I don't know that I will.
You will,
kudos to you.
because you've spent all of this time preparing him. You'll be fine.
Well, I've had the pleasure of working with you for over a year, and so thank you and congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you, sir.
Cornell Kirkendall, Assistant Principal Level 2 at Southwest Middle, has now been promoted to full Assistant Principal at Southwest Middle.
Good evening, and I want to start off by thanking everyone for this opportunity to continue to serve the students at Southwest Middle School. And I have my principal, Sybil Odom Jackson, here with me tonight, as well as my husband. And I want to thank her as well as my previous principal, Johnny Jackson, for their guidance and their support throughout this journey. And my husband for putting up with these long hours that I work every day. And it just so happens that I am a graduate of the first USF Kathleen cohort for educational leadership. So I think that that is a huge investment. So, thank you.
Well, as you know, middle school has a special place in my heart. People just don't know.
No.
But it is absolutely, hands down, in my opinion, the best grade level to serve.
Yes.
They come in, they're quirky, they're different, they're unique.
Yes, they are.
And they mature, and they argue about everything, but at the end of the day, You love them up, and they do an amazing job for us.
Yes,
So
we do. We're gonna
kudos to you
continue
for
to love
taking
them.
on that challenge. Would your husband please stand, and your principal please stand and be recognized? They deserve that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Cassandra Peters was previously an ESC Center Administrator for Hillsborough County. She's a new hire here to Polk County, and she has been assigned as Director for ESC Curriculum, Charter Schools, and Private Schools.
I wore heels so I could talk through this. I knew that I would have to speak or say something, but first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for being able to come here and to continue to serve children. Believe it or not, this is my 25th year, and I'm still excited to be in education. My kids love it here. They started at Lakeland Highlands Middle, and they love the transition. So I am grateful and thankful for the opportunity to serve you all. And my husband, my wonderful husband, Daryl Peters, is here, and both of my beautiful children, Emma and Max Hall, who got looped into saying the pledge today, and you did an awesome job, buddy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Congratulations. So, members of the board, we knew this day was coming, that Cheryl Joe had indicated her interest and dedication to retiring after countless years of service, and you've heard multiple people give her recognition, well-deserved. But it's time to replace Ms. Cheryl Joe. And so at this time, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Jennifer Rouse, Senior Coordinator for Professional Development. She is being promoted from within to Senior Director for Professional Development.
Thank you so much, board members. Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. Thank you, Mr. McNaughton, for the opportunity to serve as Senior Director of Professional Learning. God has given me the gift and the faith to do what I love for the last 23 years, and I am forever thankful to Him. I am extremely proud to stand before you this evening as someone who was born and raised in Polk County, who has lived here my whole life, and now I'm raising my own fabulous family here, and my children, Carter and Jessa. My parents, who are with me in spirit, were my first teachers who raised me to believe that with God all things are possible, and I am forever grateful for that. The spark to become an educator was ignited for me by numerous teachers as I traveled through Paget Elementary as a student, then Churchwell Elementary when it was built, and then Lake Gibson Middle School, and then Lake Gibson High School. Go Braves. Once a Brave, always a Brave. And after interning in Polk County Schools, I landed at Kathleen Elementary with my first principal, Karen Kemp, who has long been retired, but she was the kind of leader that, looking back, I was blessed to learn and grow under early in my career. So I have to thank her tonight as her relentless pursuit of excellence for her students, her high expectations for every minute of instructional time. She fed her teachers through ongoing meaningful professional learning and motivated them through feedback and praise. Other leaders like Kathy Conley, Lana Tatum, Kathy Riley, Debbie Henderson encouraged, coached, personally impacted me as well over the years and helped navigate me to this point. And then there's Cheryl Joe, who has been my leader and mentor for the past 12 years. Her leadership has modeled integrity, empathy, courage, respect, and a sincere passion for the school district. Her vast experiences and her skill set are admirable, and her dedication to this district has positively impacted thousands. Thank you, Cheryl, for providing me guidance, support, and the autonomy to take on big responsibilities, and for showing me that my work will speak for itself. Thank you for never settling for anything less than excellence and for being the most encouraging, honest, ethical, and fearless leader I've ever worked for. And then finally, it is our professional and ethical responsibility as educators to learn, reflect, improve, and have a positive impact on kids. And I'm proud to work with the tremendously talented educators in the professional development department who model and choose excellence and set standards for others to follow. They are selfless, they're driven, they're student-centered leaders that I learn with and love every day. We will work tirelessly, Mr. Hyde, to develop and support teachers in our district because we believe that great leaders and great teachers create great students. We will be relentless in putting students first and supporting Superintendent Hyde's goals. And once again, thank you for the privilege to serve in this capacity. I do not take it lightly, and I look forward to the journey. Thank you.
So I do not believe Ms. Rouse was here during workshop, and I'm going to urge her not to watch the video on strategic plan goals 1 and 2 because your department is listed in almost every cell. So we're not asking you to do everything by yourselves. I'll talk with you later about this. But congratulations. I think the fact that the whole team turned out says a lot about our replacement and our decision to hire Ms. Rouse. Next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Patricia Trejo, Program Planner for Hispanic and Latino Studies from Palm Beach County Schools. She is a new hire here to Polk County. She is a Polk County product. Her family continues to reside here. She had a sincere interest to return to Polk County. She did an amazing job interviewing for the director of ESOL, and it's my privilege to recommend you for appointment.
Thank you so much, school board members. Good evening. My name is Patricia Trejo. Thank you, Chair Board Member Sarah Beth. I am so delighted to be a part of the Polk County Public Schools family. As a former ESOL migrant student myself who attended Arbondale Elementary, Stanball Middle School, and Arbondale High School, and then had the honor of coming back and being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then also served as a teacher back in 1999 here in Polk County. It's just an absolute honor and a privilege to come back and serve the great school community of Polk County Public Schools that had such a positive impact on me. And so I'd like to thank you all for this incredible opportunity. I'd like to thank the Florida Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, the National Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, as well as my family, my husband, Jose Rodriguez, and my parents, Fernando and Gloria Trejo, for their incredible ongoing support. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. I will read off the administrative moves. If there individuals are here in the audience, I would ask them to stand and please be recognized. Ms. Melissa Bearden, Assistant Principal from Garden Grove Elementary School, has been transferred to be Assistant Principal at Spook Hill Elementary School. Congratulations. Ms. Angela Birdsong, Dean at Stanbaugh Middle School, has been promoted to the Acting Assistant Principal at Southwest Middle School. Jessica Gavin, teacher from Garden Grove Elementary, has been promoted to the Acting Assistant Principal at Garden Grove Elementary. Catherine Gaymont, school-based coach at Lake Alfred Polytech, has been promoted to Acting Assistant Principal at Lake Alfred Technical Academy. No? Okay. Is it Kiva Lark, Assistant Principal for McLaughlin Middle, has been transferred to now be Assistant Principal at Lake Marion Creek. Nadia Lewis, former Kathleen Elementary School Principal, is now a new hire as Acting Principal at Stevens Elementary. Alexander McLucky, Assistant Principal at Highlands Grove, has been promoted to Acting Principal at Lewis Elementary School. Brenda Norquist, school-based coach at Sleepy Hill Elementary School, has been promoted to Acting AP at Highlands Grove Elementary. Shing Palagano, Behavior Specialist district-wide, has been promoted to Acting Assistant Principal at Lawton Childs Middle. Heather Palmer, Assistant Principal at Spook Hill Elementary, has been transferred to Auburndale Central Elementary in the same role as Assistant Principal. Tina Ramsey, school-based coach from McLaughlin Middle, has been promoted to Acting Assistant Principal at McLaughlin Middle. Amy Santangelo, Assistant Principal at Highland City Elementary, has been transferred to Assistant Principal at Valley View Elementary. Shabre Timmons, Principal at Spook Hill Elementary, has been transferred as Assistant Principal at Highland City Elementary. Ingrid Van, Assistant Principal at Jesse Keene Elementary, has been transferred to Assistant Principal at Crystal Lake Elementary. Alexandra Wise, Principal at Lewis Elementary, has been transferred and is now Principal at Elbert Elementary. And Brett, I'm so apologetic. I believe is it Wiersema? Brett Wiersema, teacher at Blake Academy, is being promoted as the acting assistant principal at Mulberry Middle School. You know, coming from South Florida, I know all the Hispanic last names. When I was in the Midwest, I knew all of the European names. I come here, and there's a whole new challenge. So thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you, and thanks everybody for coming out to support.
Superintendent Hyde, can we get a picture? Can we get a picture of those that are the lateral transfers that were here on that list you just called? If you'll come up to the front. I will say too, I've already heard from a few of their schools that are super excited that they're there. So for all of you, thank you for the hard work that you're doing and all that's the good that's happening in our schools because of you. All right. Thank you, ladies. And our next item on the agenda is our action agenda. So Q1 will be the naming of Spessard Holland Elementary's Media Center in honor of Melody Butler. And I will seek a motion.
So moved. Second.
I have Ms. Cunningham and Ms. Fortney. Any discussion? Ms. Fortney?
I would like to first say how I'm going to miss this woman, but she has great things coming toward her. And are you going to call them up here while I read this?
I can. I will call them up here while you read this. Melody, if you and your family, which I think maybe much of the audience would like to come up to the front.
Come on, Gators.
I see all of you.
Y'all
You can
come to
just
the
keep
front.
walking down.
Yeah, go ahead and read. Sarah Beth, Chair, is that what you want me to do?
Yes, please, go ahead.
In June, Melody Butler announced that she would be retiring after 40 years of service with Polk County Public Schools. 14 years ago, Mrs. Butler was responsible for opening Spessard Holland Elementary, and each year since, she has displayed outstanding leadership. Through her efforts, Spessard Holland Elementary has become known for its positive school culture with students and faculty who are dedicated to academic excellence. Her unwavering devotion to her students and staff has been a shining example for others. She has influenced generations of teachers and school leaders to follow her lead and leave a lasting impact on our community. She is a tireless volunteer and supporter of community service projects. For Mrs. Butler, learning extends beyond the classroom, and caring for others knows no limits. Spessard Holland Elementary is proud to rename its Media Center in honor of Melody Butler.
And before...
I'm incredibly humbled by this honor being bestowed upon me. Everyone who knows me as a leader knows that I'm a community person, a collaborative leader, and that everything I do is with a together approach that we accomplish so much more than as an individual. Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. From the first year we opened, 10 teachers short and probably 500 students over what we were expected to open with, to a two-hour-long car line where the loop wasn't big enough to start with, to this year, when we were 1 point away from a B and the third highest learning gains in Polk County schools. And missed second by 1 point. It was a team effort. I am nothing without those that I surround myself with and those that trust me to lead them. I'm incredibly thankful for the many relationships that I've developed down through the years, many in this room in the short time. Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. School board members, I will support you, uplift you in prayer, and continue to move forward with efforts to support Polk County Public Schools that's near and dear to my heart. Dad, thank you for being the first college graduate in your family, our family, and valuing education so that all of your children, grandchildren have degrees and advanced degrees. He started it all, following the leading of his heart to come to Florida at a later age to Southeastern University to become a minister, and moved us here in 7th grade, and we pulled in on Memorial Boulevard back in the days, and I thought, where has my dad taken us to, this godforsaken place? Because I was from a little country town in Kentucky. But you know what? God knew what he was doing, and all things have worked out beautifully for my family. Mom, your tireless efforts to support us as a family, see that we had family dinners together around the table, and still at 81, gets those Sunday dinners together for all of us to be together as a family. Their culture, the values that they've instilled in me has made me who I am today and the leader that I wanted to be and thank God have been able to be. Mallory, Daniel, Juliet, I love you. I'm incredibly proud of all of you as educators. Carla, Darren's at a concert saving seats for us. He would have been here. But Carla, thank you for being here. I love you. My husband, wow, he's mowed the grass at Spencer, planted flowers. Brought me a frappe, which is known as my drug of choice, or sweet tea when I'm like stressed out over something. Thank you, Mike. Tyler, what an educator you are. Continue to shine. Russ and April, thank you for what you do for Pinewood Elementary, for Westwood. There's nothing better than changing the lives of children for the better, and that's what the school district is all about. I've said enough. Thank you, Spessard Holland Elementary, from 2009 till today. It is what it is, and have full faith that it will continue to be a great place for children. Thank you.
Right, and while he's getting your picture, we do officially need to vote. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Congratulations and thank you, Melody. All right, and the next item on our agenda is non-union salary increases. And I will seek a motion to approve the non-union salary increases as presented.
So moved.
Dr. Allen. Second?
Second, I'll take a second on that. Did I call the
Ms.
motion?
Fortney with the motion and Dr. Allen with the second.
There we go.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. The last item on our action agenda is the Hazel mental health contract. And I will seek a motion to approve the Hazel mental health contract to provide on-demand mental health and medical teletherapy, teleappointments, and crisis response services.
Second.
Ms. Fields and Ms. Fortney, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. I will now open the public hearing for our policy updates. And we do not have any cards for comments on the public hearing. Right. First, I will seek a motion to approve the updates to Board Bylaw 100.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fortney and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Number 2 will be a motion to approve the updates to Board Bylaw 161, Parliamentary Authority. And I will seek a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fortney and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next will be I'll seek a motion to approve the updates to Board Bylaw 165.1, the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Ms. Fortney and Ms. Fields. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. Number 4, I'll seek a motion to approve the updates to policy number 3120, employment of instructional staff.
Move approval.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. And last but not least, I will seek a motion to approve the updates to policy number 5610, removal, out-of-school suspension, disciplinary placement, and expulsion of students.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Allen and Ms. Fortney, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. And Superintendent Hyde, do you have a report for us?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Sorry, got moved. Madam Chair, members of the board, the next work session and board meeting will be held on September 6, 2022. The work session will begin at 12:30 p.m. and the board meeting will begin at 5 p.m. Both meetings will be held at the Jim Miles Professional Development Center located at 4270 Wallace Road in Lakeland. We are, just as an update, getting incredibly close to being able to return back to the Bartow office. They began installation today of the last remaining components that were necessary in order for us to record and broadcast and do everything else we need to do. So I'll provide you a weekly update as I have done previously. And then we'll obviously provide an update to the community should this date and location change. I do not believe that this date and location will change because of the topics that are involved. It might require, I believe there's a public hearing on the 16th. So I believe, as we discussed with Ms. Winchester and others, it may be more appropriate for us to host it here. However, just to be cognizant, I wanted to provide the board with an update as to the status of the previous meeting room.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde.
Yes, ma'am.
And next will be Attorney Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have anything that requires board action tonight, but I would like to announce an attorney-client session. Florida Statute 286.011, subparagraph 8, allows the school board to meet privately with its superintendent and council to discuss matters that are the subject of pending litigation. And I have a need to speak with you. We will set that up at an upcoming board meeting, likely the September 6th meeting, and that requires an advertisement in which we will name the date, the names of the people present. The entire matter will be taken down by a court reporter, and the transcript will become public record at the close of the litigation. But we will set that up during a board meeting. It's been a while since we've had one of those, and I'll walk you through that when we get there. But I am required to announce it publicly before we advertise, so I've taken care of that requirement. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. And we will now move to our board member reports, and we will go backwards today and start with District 7. Lisa Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't realize I was so lucky today. I want to reference something that I'm hoping Mr. Hyde will read, but I wanted to bring it up in my board report. First of all, I want to say back to school has been crazy fun. It's been, the car lines are backed up, but I know we're all getting that worked out, and I appreciate the staff that is staying late to make sure kids' needs are met and coming early to make sure kids' needs are met. I need to talk a little bit today about disinformation and what that does to a community and what I've experienced personally. If you haven't met me, I'm not easily intimidated, and that's, just one of my personality traits. But some disinformation has gone on about this book review that we've had, and it's been so significant that my 76-year-old parents have been harassed at home. I've been harassed in public by someone from Citizens for Freedom, or whatever the name of the group is, telling me that my son is not autistic, he is retarded, using words like that, and I'm using it for my campaign. What's being used for campaign is fodder about a policy that we already have. We have a policy. If you are interested in books that belong to your children's school, you go to the school and ask for a committee meeting hearing. It's always been our policy. I follow the law. I follow the law. There has been a review by a sheriff, not our own sheriff, Sheriff Eric Flowers. He will share that with you. And much like me, he might not like what he reads in those books, but he understands it's not pornography and breaking the law. If you would like to change the law, I would love to help you work on a rating system nationally. I think that's a phenomenal idea. It does not exist. Us in Polk County cannot create it on our own. When you start banning books, you will ban all the books. The Bible in every kind of form is in our libraries. Watch them come for that because you're trying to make a political statement. These books have not been checked out. These books are not available to elementary school students. The disinformation is going to get somebody hurt. So I'm asking if you want to talk about the books, if you want to talk about our policy, that you speak with facts. And I hope our superintendent will help us with that letter, with his response that was written today, because what I'm afraid of is disinformation to people who may become dangerous because what they believe is we're here to hurt children. And that is the saddest thing I've ever seen. So, Superintendent Hyde, would you like to read that letter now or later?
I'd be more than, Madam Chair?
If you would like to read it now, you may.
Yes, ma'am. Again, it's a matter of bulleted facts. So to address some of the concerns that have been expressed to us here in the public, the board did address this issue publicly at the May 10th board meeting. They addressed it fully. At that time, while it did not require a formal vote, as shared by our school board attorney, each board member spoke to the opt-out, opt-in policy that I was recommending and advising and moving forward with. The board, as a majority, did not support with upholding both policies. I continued to attempt to bring that simply to show the board that, to address some of the concerns that they had shared with me about confusing parents with multiple opportunities, what does this mean for secondary students. However, the board did fully address this and provide me with direction on May 10th. There are only 12 books truly in question. While there were 16 books initially challenged, 4 of the books were upheld completely by all parties, all representatives, including the representative from the challenging party, the CCDF. So 4 instances where even they upheld the retention of books. So again, we're only talking about 12 books. Contrary to the assertions by some, none of these books are pushed on students. In fact, and it's all been FOIA'd previously, and it's a matter of public record, and I'd be more than happy to share it with anybody else, the data shows that these books do not exist in all of our schools. In fact, they exist in very small numbers across the entire district. And they are not represented or reflected in all of our schools. There are a lot of false assertions being made. One book in particular is limited to a particular high school. It is the only book in existence in the entirety of the school district, and it's at the high school level, and yet many people have referenced that book because it's illustrated, and they've assumed that that's available to elementary age students. It is not. George, Drama, Two Boys Kissing, and 13 Reasons Why were the 4 books that were fully authorized to be retained. As I recall, only The Kite Runner and Beloved are recommended readings for advanced placement classes or high school level classes supported through College Board. We have always had and maintained a policy where parents can opt their children out of those reading materials and request an alternate reading assignment in regards to that, with the understanding that we would have to find books with similar themes because that's how the advanced placement course is assessed. It's not on the specificity of those 2 books, but on the specificity of some of the themes and topics that are addressed throughout those novels. 5 books have only been checked out, 5 books have never been checked out in the last 3 to 4 years of the remaining 12 books. 9 books exist in fewer than 7 of our schools, and 5 books exist in just 5 schools. 3 of the books exist on 1 campus and only 1 campus across the entirety of the district. It is interesting, and this has not been something that we've shared publicly, but complaints were only filed with Polk County Public Schools and not with any parochial, private, or charter schools. I confirmed at the time of the book challenge that these books existed in their libraries. We know this because they utilize our Destiny management system, and they report those books in their catalog to us. When I inquired with the complainants who were petitioning for the removal of the books why these books were not being challenged, I was told that's coming soon. And yet here we are 10 months later, and there's not been any movement or request to remove those books from those settings, many of which do not involve settings where, our public schools are not where many of the petitioners' own children attend. It's my understanding that at the time, several groups have met with the then former Commissioner of Education or with the Florida Department of Education, who also decided and also shared that they would not recommend the removal of these books. It's important that we understand that books that are associated or concerns associated with human growth and development, our district, no school district, exceeds the threshold of the standards and benchmarks that are required to be taught by the Florida Department of Education. Our school district does not adopt a curriculum for human growth and development independent of direction from the state of Florida. So I know there's a lot of issues out there and there's a lot of concerns out there as it relates to these books, but there's also a lot of untold facts that need to be rectified and need to be continued to be messaged so that we all have a complete comprehensive understanding of what's actually happening in our schools. As of this afternoon, we've only had 42 parents opt out of the challenged books. With an estimated 116,000 students in Polk County Public Schools this year, that equates to 0.036% of our families. And I know that many are going to argue, as we heard arguments initially, that a lot of our families are not engaged. And I would not disagree that there's a component out there of families that we need to figure out a way to better engage them. That's why we have an entire strategic plan goal that surrounds that. But to assume that 99.6% of our families don't care about their children's education is a false narrative, and it's disingenuous at best. So finally, the district does have a policy in place where books can be removed from our libraries. This is not the policy of challenging books. As we've spoken, we have an obligation and we have a policy that's already within a board policy that allows our media specialists, let me rephrase that, that requires our media specialists to evaluate materials within their schools. As I mentioned, multiple of these books have never been checked out. It is highly likely that in the next year or two, those books may be removed from the library simply because of no circulation or their age. It's also important to note these books were not recently adopted. The overwhelming majority of these books were adopted many, many years ago. These are not recent adoptions that exist within our schools, and they're in limited quantities. You know, it's important for people to understand that. And while I know that there's strong feelings on either side of this issue, the reality of it is we developed a process that allowed us to allow all books to be addressed simultaneously and remove that obligation from multiple schools to be done simultaneously throughout the year. And I felt that that was an important process for us to do. 65% of each committee were community-based members. They was not stacked with district officials. We did, and we were very intentional in ensuring that there was somebody with early childhood development expertise and mental health background knowledge and psychology background so that we could address all of those disparate issues or needs. So again, in its totality, we've addressed this issue thoroughly. The board has provided directive. We're providing the opt-out at this time, and I'll continue to provide updates to the board and to community at meetings. For the opt-outs, we have had a handful of parents communicate that they had just received this communication as of 2 days ago or yesterday when the final update went out. However, we have been communicating the requirement and provided all of the resources to parents, including the instructional videos on how they can complete the opt-out process since August 3rd. It's been messaged no fewer than 4 times since that date, inclusive of that date, and it's important for us to remember that. So if there's a family that says, I need additional time, we are somewhat limited in that. However, we'd be more than willing to have a discussion to see what accommodations can be provided. The reason why we're limited is we're not allowing any distribution of materials until this process is completed, because we need to ensure that all of our media specialists have a comprehensive list of all the choices selected by parents so that we ensure that that student doesn't get access to that book based off that parent's interests. So, Madam Chair and members of the board, you know that that's a summary of the responses I've been providing to individuals over the last couple days. You know, I believe, again, we've operated transparently. This is not something that we take lightly, and I believe that we've offered great opportunity. We far exceed what the state requires in any law by offering parents an opt-out. As you know, we're actually a year ahead of schedule. We were not required to provide a searchable format of the list of books at each school until the 23-24 school year. We are 1 year ahead of that. Additionally, it's a searchable format, and so parents not only have that, but we've highlighted all of the books. And some parents have contacted us very recently. They spoke to Stacy Davis, who oversees this department, and said, I went into my child's school and I don't see any of the books highlighted that were challenged. That's simply because none of those books exist in your child's school. Now, parents can choose to select other books, and that's why we created this process, was to empower parents to make an informed decision. These books are not the only books that some parents may find troubling. They may have personal, religious, or other beliefs within their household, and we're supporting that. So I think it's important to recognize we have afforded this option to everyone. We've addressed it, but there are other factors that need to be addressed openly, because the reality of it is, I think the misconceptions continue to be perpetuated out there that these books exist everywhere and that we're pushing these books on students, and that's simply not the case. The checkout history does not support that. The distribution does not support that. And so hopefully we can move past this issue and focus on what matters most, which is educating our kids and continuing to see academic improvement.
Madam Chair, I have
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. Ms.
I have
Miller.
one follow-up. I just have one follow-up to that. This is actually much more pushing parent involvement, because there's only a few books. Most of them are not even at your kid's school. But let's say something else is of your interest. Maybe you don't want your child in elementary school to read books on war because you're not ready for them to be exposed to that in their free time. This allows you to go in and take care of any book that you don't agree with. How would that be in opposition to parent choice? That is what we want for parents. We want them to be involved. Go into the Destiny system. And for the group, I mean, podcast, whatever, I see that you have lots of things at your fingertips. Help educate the parents on what their rights are and what they can do to help keep their choice involved in their students' curriculum or their students' extracurricular activities, because none of this is part of the curriculum. But I just want to say there is a solution to this, and people based on solutions, I think, is how we've ended up here. We've ended up here early, people wanting to help fix this issue. But campaign fodder is no more. Giving people disinformation is no more, because it's not fair to the public and it's not fair to these schools that really work hard for your children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. District 5, Ms. Fields, you are next.
Question for Superintendent Hyde.
Yes, ma'am.
I told you earlier today that I think that was probably one of the best pieces that you've written as it relates to addressing an issue that we have before us. Have you thought about maybe doing a frequently asked question in reference to some of the things that you have there and put it on the website so folks can refer to that?
Yeah, we had not, but we can most certainly do that, because we've had other questions come in and we've been addressing those. And I want to give a lot of credit to our school level staff and Stacy and others who have been directly involved in this, and this has not been an easy task to accomplish. And they deserve credit. I mean, the process that we established, we received countless calls asking us for copies of everything we did and how we approached it, how we structured our teams for the committee structure and review and the rubrics and everything else, because many other districts felt that the process we established was very thoughtful, very intentional, and quite honestly, very thorough. So they deserve a lot of credit. This has not been an easy task for the department, for IT, Ms. Pasco and her team to create the systems that allowed this to happen. This was done in a matter of months, and they deserve a tremendous amount of credit for making this happen. But we have received a number of questions related to it, especially for parents who never had a parent portal access before. And I'm actually quite intrigued, and we're going to do a data poll to figure out, of all the parents who have contacted us, how many did not have a parent portal account. And I'm continually surprised by that, because a lot of the information that parents typically rely on for orientation and back to school is all contained within the parent portal. Your child's bus number, their times, their locations, their stops, their teacher, their schedule is all in there very, very early on in the summer. So parents have that information at their fingertips. So I think this is a good way to reinforce that, quite frankly. And we're going to continue to encourage. And I've spoken with our communications director and others that we got to find other ways to ensure that parents are migrating to that process and that system, because they can actually be far more engaged in their child's learning than ever before. And so, yes, we can actually explore an FAQ to address and be able to ensure that everybody gets the same answer to the same questions that we're getting.
I think the more information we can provide, the better.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially with all of the things that we have coming before us right now, when we need to be focusing on making sure that our kids get a good start this school year and embrace the great work that our staff have been doing.
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
think that's getting lost in the mix. I just wanted to, again, Superintendent Hyde, thank you for continuing the work that Superintendent former Superintendent Jackie Bird did as it relates to the master's cohorts program with USF. I know we had, I believe, 2 classes before COVID came, and so now we're going to class 3. And that is great to know that we are building folks within our school district that can continue to carry the torch and to provide us with the best education possible for our students. So thank you for that. And then I just wanted to say that we're excited about all of the things that's going to be happening this school year. And Griffin Elementary is going to be having a celebration at the latter part of this month for making a C grade. And I believe that all the board members will be getting an invitation. If you haven't already gotten that, please consider attending it. I won't give the date. You'll get the date on the invitation, but just keep that in mind. And I think that's all that I have. Ms. Wyatt.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. And next will be Ms. Fortney.
Well, thank you, fellow board member Lisa Miller, for saying the obvious, and Superintendent Hyde for your kind and accurate words. I don't get to hear that much anymore. Moving on. Retirees, I want to congratulate everyone and thank you for your service, all you recent retirees. I just can't say enough, Chair Wyatt, about the community leadership program at Polk Vision. That has been on my mind, and now it looks like it's coming out. That's just awesome. I did attend the Davenport High School, the transportation training for our bus drivers and attendants. That was very nice. There was a lot of excitement in that room. And I want to thank Dr. Allen for allowing some of us to join in on the meeting with Junior Achievement and the possibility of BizTown, because, again, Chair Wyatt had me attend a couple of things, and I did the tour as well, and I see the value in that, and I'm glad that we're moving forward. Great things to come. We did Summerlin Military Academy, dedicated their activity room to Mr. J.J. Corbett. I'm going to say out loud again, Ms. Fields, I would hope that we get a school named after that great man. I love being around him and his family. I want to give a shout out to the staff and students of IB at Bartow High School. I think for the first time, don't quote me on that, they had a 100% passing rate on their diplomas. Jesse King, Back to School Bash. That was fun. Lots of excited little families. The gecko was there. That was great. Bobby Williams, Steve Warner. Bobby Williams, former student of mine. I taught Steve Warner's son. And they teamed up to do the Freedom Tour, and they did a teacher giveaway with our community liaisons in the Northeast section. There was the teachers were just like kids, going in and getting their stuff. Sarah Beth was there with the chamber. It was really a great event. I mean, they came back and had trailers, like file cabinets, cushy chairs, office chairs. I had the pleasure of doing McLaughlin's orientation. That was well done. Again, very, very excited for that. Another goal of prior superintendents is coming into a reality. And then Superintendent Hyde and I actually were able to go to the Guardian swearing in at the Sheriff's Office. That was interesting. And, I cannot thank our SROs, school resource officers, and our guardians, and they even had one sentinel sworn in that day. So that was kind of interesting. And I'm going to say one more time, and I will not stop saying it, pre-K through 12 public schools just do it better. Every student protected, every family respected. Thank you. That's my little report.
Thank you, Ms. Fortney. Ms. Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to welcome everybody back to the start of school. It's an exciting time. After Superintendent Hyde gave his school performance summary for this past year, I know I'm very excited to see what the future brings. I encourage all of our students to continue to read, spend time doing your work. Stay focused, as I tell kids, stay out of nonsense, and try to make this the best year ever, because you've got the right teachers in place, you've got the right administrators, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, you name it, the team is out there and ready to serve. So blessings to all, and I look forward to an awesome school year. And thank everybody for coming back and being on the A team, as I call it. Thank you so much, and that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham and Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you missed our work session, really get a chance to take a look at that. Some great big topics that we were working through. Thoroughly enjoyed the agenda, so well done in organizing that as we build our focus and initiatives moving forward from a visionary standpoint. This evening, we approved in our consent agenda the purchase of 32 school buses to replace within our fleet. And I had a chance to briefly stop in during the in-service. My fellow colleagues were along with us as well. Ms. Miller and Ms. Fortney were there hanging out, so really thanks, appreciate the invite to that. In-service training for all the bus drivers and the attendants. Assistant Superintendent Rob Davis, appreciate the invite. So, just for fun, I spent some time on the FDOE's site looking at the transportation profiles, and I'm sure that's what we'd like to do in our spare time, look at the transportation profiles of other districts as well as Polk's district. And this is what I found. Out of the Big Seven, Polk has the highest percentage of enrolled students being transported. And when I say the highest, I thought it was pretty dramatic. Miami-Dade with 4%, Broward 4%, Hillsborough 18%, Orange 12%. Polk had 28% of students enrolled being transported. It's pretty amazing. So I just want to say thank you to the bus drivers and attendants for the great work you do in transporting so many of our students safely to school each day, especially as we launch into the new school year. Had a chance to roam through some orientations around the district. The school start's been amazing. During orientation, by the way, power went out at a couple of my District 1 schools, and we had roaming dogs in the hallway. It was quite fun. But overall, it was so neat. One of the principals, literally, she was sitting on the hallway with a laptop, engaging with students and just parents all around her. It was just amazing sight to see for sure. Just really want to say thanks to District 1 principals. You've carved out some short bits of time as I traveled around the district, 22 schools within District 1 for the last few days. So if I missed you, I look forward to seeing you very soon. And in conclusion, a pencil and a dream can take you anywhere you want to go. That's all I have in my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. We did learn on our brief dinner break that he has a large pencil coming that you can actually write with, so we have that to be looking forward to. Just a couple quick things, because most of mine have already been addressed, but Winter Haven High School's Cambridge program got their scores this week as well. They had 761 exams passed last year. 28 of those received an A, which is the highest score that they can get. 63 of our 2022 graduates earned their Cambridge diploma, which was 90% of the students in the program. And most impressively, I think, is that 83% of their 2023 graduates have already earned their Cambridge diplomas without taking any of their exams yet this year. So, yes, that deserves some applause. So they are working incredibly hard. I'm excited for the opportunity to have Tenor Rock reporting some scores shortly as they start getting their students graduated, because it takes a couple of years to get there. But so I just want to give a shout out to Winter Haven and their Cambridge students. Last thing, I just want to give a shout out to Rob Davis and our transportation department. Our Friday update last week, just with the first 2 days of school data in, the first day of school, and we know that buses the first couple weeks are always getting into their rhythm and running a little bit late. First day of school, we had 27% late in the morning, 18% late in the afternoon. By the second day of school, they had already cut that down to under 15% in the morning and just over 5% for the afternoon, which is a huge task, and I've heard that they've just gotten better and better and better since then. So I'm sure those are not numbers that you probably want me sharing because they're still from day 2. But that is a huge jump for our bus drivers. And I know there's several that are running extra routes and that they're still short-staffed. So please send them our thanks for all that they're doing to get our kids to school on time.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Bridges.
Years ago, when we had a school bus case, we ran the numbers, and at that time, I think we were running 600 school buses, and they were driving about 9 million miles a year. I'm sure those numbers have gone up. I don't know if you have them off the top of your head, Rob, but it's a huge undertaking, and the logistics of what they do are just amazing. Pardon me.
They drive around the entire world twice every day.
Millions of miles.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. So with that, we will move on to our public comments on non-agenda items. And I apologize, I switched to my notes. So we will now begin with our public comments for items not included on this evening's agenda. Just as before, to register to speak, community members must fill out a speaker card in the lobby prior to the meeting. All speakers will be given 3 minutes. The clock will give you a warning sound when you have 1 minute left and when you have 30 seconds left. Please note that although the board encourages community participation, no immediate action will be taken on items presented during this public comment portion of the meeting. If follow-up board action is required, then the matter may be placed on the agenda at a subsequent meeting in accordance with school board policy. And just as a reminder, we have our lovely red box here for those of you on deck. And I don't think we need Deputy Vaughn to demonstrate again, but that's the area that we'll ask you to stand if you're on deck. So first, we will have Richard Miller. Thank you. All right, and next we will have Julie Butler, and then on deck is Laura Coyle. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hi, my name is Julie Butler, and my son is a student at Valley View Elementary. Valley View is a wonderful school with one of the highest ratings in the surrounding area, but this may not be the case for long. I'm here today concerning the rezoning of the property next to Valley View for a hospital on the corner of 540A and Harold's Nursery Road. This property is 29 acres, and the zoning proposal is allowing for a facility of nearly 1 million square feet complete with helipad. Needless to say, I, along with many others, are concerned about the impact this will have not only to our neighborhoods, but to our school as well. I would like to express a few of our concerns and invite you as a school board to take action to protect our school. First, negotiating traffic on 540A during car rider line is very difficult. Cars are backed up way past the turn lanes, half on and off the road, with vehicles zooming by way above the posted speed limit. Pulling in and out of the school is extremely dangerous. The county report itself said a hospital in this area could increase the traffic up to 1,000%. Second, how are our teachers expected to teach and our kids to learn with sirens blaring and helicopters hovering overhead? Think about the children with special needs or high anxiety being exposed to that kind of stimulation on a daily basis. Third, our children's safety. Just last week, there were 2 attempted abductions of children on their way home from school near 540A. With the increased foot traffic a hospital would bring, situations like this would be more likely. This property sits slightly higher than Valley View and overlooks the grounds where our children play and has direct line of sight and access to school entrances off of Harold's Nursery Road. In this world where elementary school shootings and human trafficking are a real issue, the visibility of our kids at school is something we should not take lightly. These are only a few of the concerns that will directly affect Valley View, and as people entrusted with the well-being of our school, your voice matters. According to the county's own codes for school siting and planning policy 3.604A7, Polk County shall protect schools from the intrusion of incompatible land uses by providing the school board representatives the opportunity to participate in the review process for all proposed developments adjacent and in proximity to schools. The time to act is now before the zoning is changed, not after. I'm working with others to organize awareness and community response at the October 5th hearing. We also have a petition that at this point is over 1,000 signatures, most of whom are parents concerned for our school. Please sign the petition, email our county officials your concern, and show up to speak at the hearing. More information can be found on our Facebook page along with the county reports at No Hospital on 540A. We would appreciate your support and thank you for considering our requests.
Thank you. Great. Next is Laura Coyle, and on deck will be Bob Nickel.
Madam Chair, just a quick, because it was brought up, we do have a representative that sits on that committee. Ms. Usher has assigned that individual, so we're very much at the table for those discussions. It's our understanding that the initial hearing is only for the land use, that there'll have to be a subsequent application that's submitted to actually build, to petition to build a hospital. Unfortunately, in the state of Florida, they did away with regulations that previously existed that required hospitals to justify, based off density, need, and other factors, the reasoning for a hospital, and that is no longer the case. So we only have so much we can contribute to that conversation, but I wanted to clarify, we do have a representative who sits on that committee.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. Ms. Coyle?
Well, this goes along with Ms. Butler. My name is Laura Coyle, and I live on High Ridge Drive in Lakeland. And I'm one of over 850 members of the No Hospital on 540A group. My two sons went to Valley View and graduated from George Jenkins High School, and along the way, they had the privilege of learning from some extraordinary teachers. They were able to walk to school every day, and when they were old enough, it was safe enough for them to do so on their own. Their Valley View and Jenkins friends lived up and down both sides of Harold's Nursery and Peterson Road, and the general atmosphere of the area was one of family and neighborhood. As educators, I think that you will agree there is more to an education than simply what takes place in the classroom. The environment and community around and within a school is a large part of a student's success or failure. I am saddened that the next generation of students coming through Valley View will not have these same experiences if a hospital moves in across the street. It is the safe community and excellent schools which are the reasons why many parents have moved to the Highlands area. Polk County is the fastest growing county in Florida, so development, it's inevitable. However, as a hospital placed in a residential area within walking distance of two schools, really the best place for it? For the school board as a whole, I understand that you may have some reservations about speaking out against the hospital, but at the end of the day, it's the parents of the school children that elect the board members to your positions, and from what they have written to me, and I believe to you guys as well, I think it's pretty clear that the vast majority are strongly against the hospital at this particular location due to its proximity to the school. I have heard many times from parents that they wish the school board would take an active role in the situation. It's my hope that at a minimum, the school board will provide at least one representative at the October 5th zoning hearing and any further hearings regarding this land, and that they will provide commissioners at each meeting with their concerns and those that they have received from the public regarding the proposed zoning change. The school board has the right to be involved in the process even at this early point. The Polk County Comprehensive Plan under Policy 3.062-A6 states, quote, Polk County shall seek and consider school board comments on relevant comprehensive plan amendments and other land use decisions which may impact schools as provided for Florida statutes. These would be very easy items to comply with and will make it known to all parties involved that the school board is actively monitoring the situation and will do what they can to ensure that their voice is heard in the matter and that they are acting in the best interests of their students. I believe the time is now to come off the sidelines and speak up for the families you were chosen to represent. Waiting until a zoning change occurs before getting involved is a mistake, because once that door is open, big business is going to do what they want without regards for our children. We ask that you address this situation potentially at your September 6th agenda, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Bob Nickel, and on deck is Carolyn Holton.
Good evening, Ms. Miller. I love your heart, and I'm disgusted at the slurs that have been hurled at you by the book banners. I just wanted to say that. Toni Morrison belongs on a library shelf, not hidden behind a desk. Books are to be read, not banned. Parents should have the right to decide what their child reads. And I want to applaud and support Superintendent Hyde and this board for standing up for those parents and the overwhelming majority of residents in Polk County. I also want to thank my fellow teachers and media specialists. We've been threatened, but we stand tall. And if I could ask for just a few things this school year, they'd be stop yelling at us. Stop saying we groom students. And stop saying that we indoctrinate. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn Holton. And on deck is Christy McCullough.
Hi, my name's Carolyn Holton. When my son was in 4th grade, he was reading above grade level, so his teacher wanted him to read independently some material that I didn't consider was age appropriate, even though the books were right for his reading level. I opted him out of several of the teacher's selections. As he got older, the same books caused me no concern at all for him. I don't feel the need to restrict the choices of other parents for their own children, recognizing that kids have different backgrounds and levels of maturity. I'm grateful that the opt-out system we have worked for my child, and I want to thank the district for keeping opt-out alive. I'd also like to reassure parents who have had opt-out available but haven't used it yet that the policy worked as it should to let me limit my child to the books I felt were appropriate for him. And it gives other parents the freedom to choose differently for their own kids. Keeping this policy in place isn't taking away our rights, but we're making more people aware of rights we already had, like Mrs. Miller said, so we can exercise them as individual families see fit. I appreciate that Mrs. Miller and Mr. Hyde provided some additional information on this topic this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy McCullough, and on deck is Joellen McPeak.
Christy McCullough, 20-year teacher, Winter Haven. I first spoke to the board in 1998, my first year teaching. It was kind of like speaking to statues. I remember I actually spoke against using fund balance to fund teacher raises, and I felt like it had no effect. And ironically, I just left a career as a CPA, and I felt like I was now a math and physics teacher. I felt like if I had said, hey, I'm a CPA, I would have gotten more attention, but I was just a teacher. So I commented to somebody, nothing ever seemed to happen at the meetings, and I was told, well, the work sessions when things happened. But the work sessions were during the day, and I was in the classroom. So kudos to all the district staff that have allowed us to now see the work session. I watched from 2:30 on today, and it's really informative to really see the discussions go on there. Thank you for making those available online. Board members seem to also know a lot about day-to-day operations. I was seated with a former board member at a table at a charity dinner. He asked why I wasn't teaching. We needed physics teachers. I said I had a daughter. I wanted to stay home. I teach part-time. Didn't have that. He said, oh, yeah, we do. No, you don't, not anymore. His wife had to back me up. She worked for the district. We didn't. By the way, that might be a great idea to explore, your pool of teachers for those people that want to work part-time, not full-time. I'm fortunate to be a teacher now in one of Polk County's more than 100 career academies. Very glad about that. I teach a whole different set of skills. Florida State Standard CRP 04 tells me to teach students to demonstrate agribusiness, employability, and human relations skills, including substandard .0301A, demonstrate good listening skills, .0303B, demonstrate interpersonal communication skills. Standard CRP 090301 tells me to demonstrate the ability to work cooperatively. Employers tell us that rather than raw knowledge, they need employees with the ability to work hard and work together. I want to commend you guys. The current board members, the current superintendent, the current executive staff, you guys have an environment of cooperation and working together that I have not seen in many, many years of watching these things. Webster defines teamwork as the combined action of a group of people, especially when they're effective and efficient. I want to commend the board members that recognize they are paid a full teacher salary and put in the hours to justify that salary. I believe a student's work ethic is far more important to their future success than any state test score. Webster defines work ethic as the principle that hard work is intrinsically virtuous and worthy of reward. Many of you are available to parents, teachers, community members, and will work to find solutions. Thank you. I also want to thank PEA and the district for working together instead of being two teams going to war. In a time where everyone in education seems to be constantly criticized, I wanted to take a minute or three to say thank you for what you do and for modeling the behavior the state says we should be teaching our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCullough. Joellen McPeak, and on deck is Robert Goodman.
I am Joella McPeak. I'm with Lakeland, Florida, a teacher at Lake Region High School, a parent, community member. I'm back again. And Superintendent Hyde, with your full explanation, you've taken up many of my remarks. I don't need to say half the stuff I need to say. The remarks are repetitive that I had planned. They've been very covered. The thoughtful and intentional process that we did for the book review was very good. I came here tonight, though, specifically to thank you, and I'm going to tag on to the speaker before me in the fact that that is what I notice, that the air of cooperation, collaborative work from all the board members, from all the staff, PEA, and working together for the betterment of our students and our schools. And it is a breath of fresh air. I know many members of the community, parents, and teachers contacted board members to express their opposition to the opt-in policy, and as a result, you took those concerns to Superintendent Hyde, who, based on the voices of our family and community, pulled the opt-in policy. As you know, I was opposed to opt-in and saw it as censoring material and fundamentally allowing others to impose their beliefs. But you took that due diligence and looked at it from every angle before acting. And I would have been happy with your decision if it had been against mine, having done that same thing. Opt-out allows every parent to decide what is right for their child. Every voice is heard. Our parents are respected in their ability to parent. Speaking of every voice being heard, I did catch the end of the work session today after hours, and I wanted to highlight the story of sporks. That story embodies the respect that this board shows to hear every voice in Polk County Public Schools. A benign conversation overheard from a group of students led to action. Those students, I bet, feel respected. They feel heard. And that's very important. And I like to commend every board member for collaborating with your many different perspectives, coming to make decisions for the best of all of our students and families in every respect. It has built a community that we're all proud to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Goodman, and on deck is Joanne Rube-Cahoon.
Good evening. I'm Robert Goodman from Lakeland. I represent a large group of parents and citizens who are disappointed with the accusations that were leveled here tonight. The opt-in, opt-out option that Mr. Hyde had on the agenda for the workshop on July 26 was actually also recommended by our good Sheriff Grady Judd. What was recommended in that policy was not book banning, it was not limiting parents' options, it was really nothing more than mirroring what is in place for movies that has been in place for 50 years. Children that do not have parents to look out for them, and we fully believe in parents' choice, but many students don't have parents monitoring what they're doing. This policy would have protected them, just like those students couldn't go to an R or an X-rated movie if they were 13 or 14 years old. Investigative journalist Kimberly Moore identified that 3 of the 4 people who opposed the policy were up for re-election, which is really suspect as to why the board did not take a vote. That irresponsible move of putting these books back on the shelf without parental consent is a blatant violation of Florida Statute 847012. It's not about what people feel, it's about the law. And it leaves Polk school employees susceptible to being charged with a 3rd-degree felony. Superintendent Hyde presented a resolution that protected children. And it was a fair decision, and we suggested it. A lot of people wanted the books pulled from schools. We did not want that. You reversed the decision, and it changed the constitutional duty to protect our kids. Then to hear the audacity tonight that someone was selecting violence against people. We're not selecting violence, we're selecting legal action. The backtracking is unfortunate, and we are going to be filing police reports against the board, the superintendent, and anyone that is distributing material in question because it violates the law and state statutes. Anyone distributing content that violates 827.012 will have a criminal complaint filed against them. Let me remind you, Governor DeSantis just removed a state attorney for not following the law, and we are only asking you to follow the law, nothing more. We will protect the children of Polk County, even if you won't.
Thank you. Joanne Rube Cahoon.
Thanks. My name is Joanne Ruby Cahoon, and I'm an occupational therapist. I have been an occupational therapist for 29 years, and I'm starting my 23rd year with Polk County Schools. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak today. Mr. Hyde, Madam Chair, and the rest of the board. Thank you for continuing to work towards the best interest of our students. Also, I'd like to specifically applaud Mr. Hyde for what it sounds like kind of going back from what he had originally talked about, maybe the plan that he thought was best. I honestly feel that listening to other people, despite the fact they might not agree with the original plan, is the sign of a true leader. And that was very impressive to me. So I really appreciate that quality in you, Mr. Hyde. Currently, there's a ton of hot button topics we can talk about, but right now I'm going to talk about immigration. And I know that's surprising, and you're like making a face, what? Like one more hot topic. But I want to tell you that I am an immigrant to the United States. I worked here for 15 years on a work visa, and then I worked here for about 6 years on a green card, and 2 years ago in January, I got my American citizenship. So how is it relevant? Well, I'm college educated. English is my first language. I'm pretty good at paperwork. And I thought, I can do this green card stuff. I can get my citizenship, no problem. But I'm going to tell you, that is not what happened. I was not even in the ballpark of being able to do that because that is not my experience, my expertise, my area. I'm not an immigration attorney. I couldn't do it. So I'm leaving that to the experts. When I hear people talk about immigration, I think everyone has an opinion. They think it's very easy, and I'm here to tell you it's not. It costs a lot of money, time, it's complicated, it's expensive, it is just unbelievable. But I think a lot of people have opinions, and they've never immigrated, had anything to do with immigration, and I feel this is the relevance, this is where we're going with education. Lots of people have opinions about teachers. They're not teachers, they don't have an education degree, they haven't been in the classroom. They want to dictate book choices, curriculum choices, curriculum materials, topics, and I'm here to tell you, please leave it to the experts. This is what they do. I've been in a classroom for 23 years. I've worked with 3-year-olds up to 22-year-olds. I could not be a teacher, not my area of expertise. I couldn't do it. So I would like to say, I'm not saying don't be in the classroom. I'm saying support your teacher. Be engaged. Be helpful. Like my mom, who was a teacher, always said, if you are not, she reminds me, if you're not part of the solution, if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. So I'm here to implore you, please, anyone complain, anyone can have an opinion, but please be the solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.